Do you love mono green decks but hate thinking? Do you enjoy playing creatures but just wish you could cast 12 spells in one turn?
Hi, I'm here to tell you that you don't have to choose anymore. Introducing Storm for TIMMIES.
No rituals, no complicated stack interactions, no islands, just creatures. Why don't you give it a go today?
Alright, so today I'm going to be splitting the colour pie in half like an atom once again as I show you one of my favourite decks. It's Mono Green Storm. And no, I'm not running Thraster or Ave as the commander. So who is helming this deck? Let's have a look.
Our commander is Nylea Keen-Eyed, a legendary enchantment creature god for 3 generic and a green. She's a 5/6, indestructible, and as long as your devotion to green is less than 5, she isn't even a creature, so good luck trying to path her. Her abilities read, creature spells cost 1 less generic mana to cast, and for 2 and a green, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature card, put it into your hand.
Now this all seems pretty basic. Wizards clearly wanted Nylea to helm some kind of big stompy green deck, where you'll smooth out your draws and make it so that your big scary threats come out 1 turn earlier. But because of Nylea's ability to reduce generic costs, any card that just costs 1 generic is now free, and that's where we'll build our Storm engine. The game plan is simple. With Nylea on board, we can cast any 1-drop colourless creature for free, such as Universal Automaton. We'll use that ability to dump our entire hand and deck onto the board, fill it with creatures, and build up that Storm count. Before we dive into it though, I want to hear what your favourite 1-drop colourless creature is, so leave a comment down below and see if it made the list. And if you want to see even more decks that split the colour pie in half, then do subscribe. The biggest issue with these free spells is obvious. Without card draw, you're just going to end up with a board filled with useless junk. You see, if you've got 4 forests and 3 creatures in hand, once those 3 creatures are on the board, then what? You're maybe staring down an opponent with a Memnite on board? It's not very threatening. Luckily, green solves this beautifully.
We're running a suite of creature-based card draw engines, including Beast Whisperer, Primordial Sage, Guardian Project, The Great Henge, Glimpse of Nature, and Zendikar Resurgent.
Each of these turns every creature cast into card draw, and because our creatures are free, every card effectively replaces itself. And I know what you're thinking, aren't most of these colourless creatures incredibly bad? Well, yes, they are, but there's a few that are worth mentioning.
There are 32 of these creatures in the list, and while you've probably never wanted to have a Rotorothopter on your side of the board before now, and I'm not going to assume Lightning Core Excavator is on your buy list, a handful of these useless colourless creatures do have some benefit. Spectrum Sentinel gains life whenever an opponent plays non-basic lands, and has protection from multicoloured. This is a card that I think should be in even more decks. Mia Mind Servant lets you shuffle your library if the top cards are trash. Facing off against a Kadena or Morph deck, Keeper of the Lens gives you a unique insight into face-down strategies. Haywire Might is premium removal for artifacts or enchantments, and Hope of Girapa will let you halt any non-creature spells being cast, as long as you can swing with it first.
Every creature adds to the Storm count, draws us another card, and keeps the chain going. Now, that's great because we're getting creatures onto the board for free, we're drawing a card, but then what? At the moment, all we're doing is flooding the table with a bunch of cards like Heap Doll or Soldevi Sentry. Not particularly useful. Well, that's where our Storm payoffs come in.
Now sure, green doesn't have the best Storm cards. We don't have Grape Shot or Tendrils of Agony, and you definitely won't see a Brain Freeze combo line here. Instead, we've got these 3. Chatterstorm, to make an army of squirrels. Weather the Storm, to hopefully pad our life total for when we need a bit of support. And Ave, Progenitor Ooze, who makes loads of copies of themselves and is realistically our best bet here. Aetherflux Reservoir also makes the list, as although it doesn't technically say Storm on it, it functions the same way, and I don't think you'll be complaining when you're firing a 50 damage laser at an opponent's face.
Alongside those, we're also running 4 of the 5 Amonkhet Monuments. Now yes, those are even further away from Storm, but they do keep the deck running smoothly.
Now while they do all reduce the cost of creatures, only Ronus's Monument actually helps us out in that regard. But that's fine, the real power is in the triggers. Ronus's Monument not only reduces green creature spells by 1, perfect for getting your Primordial Sage out a turn earlier, it also turns every creature cast into a +2/+2 trample buff. Stack that 10 times, and suddenly someone's looking much closer to 0 than they were a few seconds ago. Hazoret's Monument lets you loot every time you cast a creature, filtering out lands and other unhelpful cards mid-combo ensuring you hit another creature to keep the chain going. Oketra's Monument adds extra bodies to the board should you need them, and Bontu's Monument drains each opponent for 1 life per creature spell cast.
With all of these storm spells and incremental value, you may have just won the game, or at least lasered someone to the dome for 50. But we do have all these creatures, so we might as well make use of them.
Craterhooth Behemoth is our classic green ending. All of those terrible 1-drops suddenly turn into a lethal threat. For a more subdued way to push through damage, Beastmaster Ascension is here. Suddenly everything is +5/+5 once you swing with 7 creatures, and the buff doesn't disappear.
With that whole engine ticking along nicely, this is usually the point in the video where I talk to you about protection and removal. The thing is, any protection and removal that's not tapped onto a creature like Haywire might is just going to get in the way of the game plan. That said, we do have one piece of premium removal, and that's Beast Within. This will deal with any permanent that causes us trouble that exists on the battlefield. And unfortunately, there are 2 that stop the game plan entirely.
Roiling Vortex and Vexing Bauble. The first reads, whenever a player casts a spell, if no mana was spent to cast that spell, this enchantment deals 5 damage to that player. Now hopefully we can tank a few hits, but realistically, this will see your life total plummet pretty quickly. And the second, whenever a player casts a spell, if no mana was spent to cast it, counter that spell.
Luckily, both of these see little playing Commander, with just over 1% of decks on EDH Rec having them in there. But if you do see them on the board, kill them immediately. Any other big threats? Leave them to your opponents. It's probably a big threat for them too, and they can deal with it. If it doesn't disrupt your game plan in any way, if it doesn't stop you from counting up that storm, if it doesn't stop you from drawing cards or getting creatures onto the board, you don't have to worry about it. All that matters is your game plan. Now, if you're not as brave as me, you're probably looking to add in a bit more removal, and that's probably wise. And if you're looking for a place to find those premium pieces, then I recommend Card Mystic, the smart Magic the Gathering search engine.
I can simply search for mono green removal and be given a whole load of great options. Then, once I've found one I like the sound of, I can press the similar cards button to find even more like it.
Thanks again to Card Mystic for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to the build. Now, while most of the deck will cost 0 thanks to Nylea, we do need some mana to pay for all of our support spells, and that's where the usual suspects come in.
Llanowar Elves, Finhorn Elves, and Elvish Mystic all tap for a single green. An Arbor Elf lets us tap a forest, untap it, and then tap it again for some bonus mana. Circle of Dreams Druid is an all-star here, as with a huge amount of creatures on board, we're likely to be tapping for huge amounts of green mana each turn should we need it. An Elven Chorus is another great mana fixer, letting us cast creatures from the top of our library and turn every creature into a mana dork. But my favourite card here is Tangleroot. It reads, whenever a player casts a creature spell, they add 1 green. And since our creatures cost 0, every creature spell becomes mana positive. Then you can combine this with something like Lifecrafter's Bestiary, and you can funnel that mana straight into card draw. It's like a Beast Whisperer you built yourself.
So that's our supporting mana pieces, but that's not all we've got when it comes to utility.
First up, never forget about Nylea's activated ability. Dig for creatures when you stall to ensure you never run out of gas. Found yourself on the receiving end of a board wipe? Creeping Renaissance is here to bring every creature back into play. But the most broken card here is Abundance. It reads, whenever you would draw a card, you instead choose land or non-land, and dig until you hit one.
Once you've got enough lands, you can just choose non-land. That turns almost every draw into a guaranteed creature again, and when every creature you cast draws you a card, well, you'll probably never have a dud draw again.
Speaking of lands, our mana base isn't complex. 27 forests, a castle Garenbrig for some extra mana, a reliquary tower to ensure our hand stays stocked, and a rogue tranquil thicket, something we can cycle away when we just don't need it.
So that's Nylea Mono Green Storm, but sometimes you want something a little bit extra. Sometimes you do want to cast Tendrils of Agony for 30 and demolish the table. Well, if you're feeling the temptation of dark magic, why not add in an extra colour?
Honest Rutstein is a 3/2 human warlock for Golgari and 1 that reads, when Honest Rutstein enters, return target creature from your graveyard to your hand, and creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast.
By simply swapping out the commander, you can go from Nylea to Rutstein without having to change much of the bulk of the deck. However, by adding that extra colour, we do get a few extra tricks.
The aforementioned Tendrils of Agony will let us deal serious damage to the whole table, and is quite the upgrade from Chatterstorm, let's be honest. New colourless creatures such as Clay Revenant, which does require a commander with black in its colour identity, let you upgrade some of the more useless creatures we were handling with Nylea. Need a new way to generate mana? Warren's Soul Trader lets you sacrifice your free creatures for treasures. And if you want to ensure that you can check your whole deck is suitable to cast, why not add in a Viscera or an Umbral Collar Zealot? Each of them will let you scry or surveil cards from the top of your library at the cost of a single creature, which is fine as you'll be ensuring the top card of your library replaces it very soon. Finally, for even more ways to gain mana at any cost, Carnival of Souls will keep you mana positive for the cost of only 1 life. It's like Tangleroot, but with thorns.
And that's a wrap. Whether you want to play original with the Therosian God, or you want to take Rutstein for a spin, you're bound to have a great time. If you like this video, hit like. If you've got any suggestions for these decks, or any other, do leave a comment down below. And if you really like this video, do hit subscribe. There's loads more to come. I'll see you next week. Bye.